Hey, what's up, everybody? So it's been a little while since we did a rabbit holes video. So I'm gonna do my favorite rabbit hole with MK Ultra today. And this video has been used probably in like 3/4 of every documentary or YouTube video that anyone's ever made about the subject. They always just seem to come right back to using clips from this original 1978 documentary. What's up, Quantum Cat? Alright.
This is the...
What's up, RG, Mikey C, Nick, Bosco, Johnny Cage, I guess not. What's up, Ledgeview, Mingo?
Story of a 30-year search by U.S. intelligence agencies to perfect mind control. Some of those engaged in that search have agreed to talk about it for the first time.
Hell yeah, Codeed. Yeah, absolutely, you know. You gotta, read The Catcher in the Rye and, get it to, unlock unlocks it whoever's brain. I know, right, Mingo? Yeah. Whenever you look it up, it's like hardly anything. It's like a couple of things. I had to dig to find this. This used to be all over it.
One said, "I think every last one of us felt sorry to attempt this kind of thing. We knew we were crossing the line." The search would be endless. From brothels, an agent says, we learned a lot about human nature in the bedroom, to the mystical rites of a magical mushroom ceremony performed by an Indian shaman, to a Spanish bull ring. The bull has had electrodes implanted in the brain and is controlled by a scientist. There would be victims.
That guy always seems like he's overacting, though. I think this guy is a psyop yet in and of itself. This guy's so overacting and trying to sell it. Oh man, they gave me LSD. They gave me LSD.
An intelligence agency tried to peel this man's mind back to reveal its deepest secrets.
Hell yeah, Bong Farter. What's up, Frostmeth? What's up, Apothecary John the Black Dragon? Pretty much. Hell yeah, Frostmeth. They're just let's just throw random shit out, see what we can do.
Live through it, I'll live through it.
This man worked on some of these programs. He would write of his work, "It was fun, fun, fun." This is the story of the search for mind control.
I mean, honestly, it could be kind of fun, you know? It's like you're getting paid by the government to troll people. What it comes down to, really.
ABC News Close-Up, Mission Mind Control. With ABC News correspondent Paul Altmaier.
We are not professing to tell you the complete story of these activities. We are professing to tell you the complete story that we know.
Right.
But...
Right, Mikey? Yeah, that eyeball that is straight up like the eyeball from 2001 when he's going into Jupiter and shit, and it syncs up to the Pink Floyd song.
With ABC News correspondent Paul Altmaier.
We are not professing to tell you the complete story of these activities. We are professing to tell you the complete story that we know.
Right.
But these records that we've uncovered don't tell the story. They tell pieces of it.
This is a story that has been told in bits and pieces. This is an attempt to pull most of it together. We know we don't have the full story. We do, however, have some striking new revelations and insights. The story begins here, just off the...
God, you remember when the news actually would do investigative journalism like this? But yet again, this is probably still just a psyop. Who really knows? They wouldn't go out and let the TV people make a video about it.
nation's front yard, the Mall. The buildings behind me were the headquarters for the World War II Office of Strategic Services. It was here that the first halting steps toward mind control began. The shaper and molder of OSS was General Wild Bill Donovan. He said of his group's work, "We may have made mistakes, but we were not afraid to try things that were never done before."
Hey, what's up, Lewis? Oh, hell yeah, Bigo. What's up, Hot Rod Short Bus?
In this anything-goes atmosphere, Donovan appointed this man, Stanley Lovell, a Boston industrialist, to break new ground in many scientific and technical fields. Donovan called Lovell his Dr. Moriarty, after the fiendish professor in Sherlock Holmes. Lovell liked the name and posed for this Saturday Evening Post photo. He later wrote of his OSS job that it was, quote, to stimulate the Peck's bad boy beneath the surface of every American scientist.
Motherfucker literally has like a bunch of knives and like brass knuckle knives and shit and like a cane with poison in it. And he's like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Take my photo and publish it. I'm definitely not an evil scientist. What the fuck? What's up, Stelio? What's up, Brandon the Trash King, RG? Oh yeah, Chaos? Absolutely. I've listened to some audio books of it, and yeah, there's a bunch of crazy shit. What's up, Shiloh? Oh shit, I accidentally clicked up.
Would be an active participant in that search over the next 2 decades. His name is George White, an OSS captain who had formerly been with the Bureau of Narcotics. In his diary, seen here publicly for the first time, White left a legacy of the darker side of American intelligence work. He received his early OSS training at the British-run...
Yeah, he's an old-ass Batman villain. Absolutely, Topher. Oh! Yes. Hang on, give me a second. Oh, fuck, I know it. I know the thing with the Tesla in the boat. Philadelphia experiment. That's what it was, the Philadelphia experiment.
School at Oshawa, Canada, the same school where Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond, was trained. White referred to the school in his diaries as the Oshawa School of Mayhem and Murder. Mike Burke, former OSS colleague of White's and now president of Madison Square Garden Center.
Now president of Madison Square Garden. This guy who used to like try to program people's brains is now doing shit huge at Madison Square Garden. We're not even going to touch on that. We're just going to keep on going and, you know, not even let anybody think about it.
Very compelling fella, mysterious fella, almost mystical fella. He was fascinating because...
Absolutely, dentist.
You knew something about him, but not enough about him to really get a fix on him. He also knew a great deal about the swifter elements of society, the gamier side of life. And he was very impressive in his technical knowledge of the underworld, so to speak.
He said, one of our men gets beat up. He says, you have to act real fast and teach these guys a lesson.
Charles Siragusa, a former narcotics officer and friend of White's.
He'll come around, he says, and break your kneecaps.
God damn. They really just didn't give a fuck back then, did they? Hell yeah, Shiloh. The craziest one, Mingo? Oh shit, I don't know. I could like suspend my disbelief a lot, so I like that Killer Clowns from Outer Space one that we did like a while back, where that demons look like clowns and they got banished into a evil psychedelic dimension, and so when you take psychedelics to see jesters, those are evil circus clowns that are actually demons influencing your mind, and they are influencing people and making them turn into clowns nowadays. That's why people wear those big old red boots that just started coming out. It's because of the evil jester, wicked jester, dimensional fractal world.
And with that, one guy laughed, and George would always have little Billy with him.
Absolutely, Fosco.
And this one guy saw us naked. George White turned around and whapped him across the neck with it. Then he picked up a pool stick and started beating everybody up.
He made his point.
And he made his point.
George White was not a man of understatement or subtleties. His boss at OSS, Stanley Lovell, referred to him as deadly and dedicated.
Oh yeah, the moon is fake? Or is it like the hollow moon? It's a big like Death Star space station? Or is it just straight up fake? Like, that's not real, that's a projection. Because I've seen like both of them before.
In this note from White's diaries, it says, "Call Lovell regarding TD." TD was a rather transparent cover for Truth Drug. George White worked with the Truth Drug Committee here at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in the nation's capital. They experimented with mescaline, scopolamine, and marijuana on unwitting victims. The committee soon learned there was no easy panacea, no truth drug at this stage. But White and later colleagues would not stop trying. The goal remained the same. As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is
Shinobi mode. No, it's okay. Look. You know how like on YouTube you get that silver play button or the gold play button or whatnot? Well, when you do enough psyops for the CIA, they give you the coveted, the Manchurian candidate with a whole sheet on it. So, nah, I'm good with them. I did my service.
is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will.
Absolutely, Ledgeview.
And even against such fundamental laws.
Zort subscribed for more madness. Alien.
Thank you, Zort. Thanks for hanging out and watching this with us. Oh, hell yeah, low battery smoke detector. Yeah, like next time, maybe. I should have done this before I did like that weird Manson tuber, but that was more about the people who like only fucking talk about Charles Manson on their YouTubes. Because we talked a lot about it during that, like the Chaos book and all that. But I wanted to do like a Jim Jones one, but we gotta set it up with this first.
Of nature as self-preservation. But it was a discovery here.
God, the acid test? Oh my god, like, the fucking further bus. Hey, we're hippies. we're gonna drink LSD and drive this stupid ass fucking bus to go see the World Fair. Hey, we're gonna go see Timothy Leary. And Timothy Leary's just like, fuck this shit, man. I do not want to see all these goddamn hippies. And he would not even meet with them. God, it's so funny. But yeah, it was all just professors and shit.
Here in Basel, Switzerland, at Sandoz Laboratories by Dr. Albert Hoffman, that led the intelligence agencies of America to believe that they had found the panacea. The discovery was lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD. The film that you see is considered by many experts to be the closest illustration of the effects of a hallucinogenic.
Hell yeah, Lotus Man. This is simulated exactly what acid looks like. It's just a bunch of colors and swirls.
One of the first times that anybody had run into a powerful drug that was different than anything else that they knew anything about.
God, I wish, Lotus Man. I wish that was the case. He's just running psyops. Yes, you're going to distract everybody by being the worst person ever. And then everybody's going to be distracted by you, Cyrax, and we can implement our whatever the fuck they want to do. I don't know. They don't even know what they want to do. They just want to fuck with people and troll them. That's what it comes down to.
John Gittinger, recently retired chief psychologist for the CIA. This is the first time Gittinger...
Oh, hell yeah, James Craig Jr. A new competitor on July 4th. Hell yeah. Oh, who's it gonna be, I wonder? Lord CP? Or maybe that weird guy who kept making those videos that was like, hey, why don't you beat up Cyrax? Why don't you beat up someone your own size? I forget who that guy was. He was only relevant for like a week.
Gittinger has been interviewed publicly.
We could disable a whole city by putting a very small amount on a water supply. After all of these years of us, those of us who are involved in looking for this secret drug, this was the only thing.
Ricky? Hell yeah. Beat his ass. Beat his fucking ass.
And it looked for the first time like it might be something like that.
The CIA's interest in LSD was intense. The worry was that the Russians would get hold of it.
Lotus Man, that's exactly right. That's why he said once, he was like, so, I got my guards waiting with baseball bats. He let it slip. And they're like, who? It was like Ed and Sally. Ed and Sally's here with baseball bats waiting for you to show up. They're my bodyguards. He let it slip. They really are working for him.
Were the Soviets into LSD?
I'm going to have to say I'm sure they were, but if you ask me to prove it, I've never seen any direct proof of it.
But at one point, intelligence information received from Switzerland said that Sandoz Laboratories was about to put 100 million doses of LSD on the open market. And it caused enough concern within the agency that the United States was prepared to buy the entire supply.
Okay, so, there we go. That's where it all fucking came from. Someone was making a bunch of acid, and America was like, shit! Russia's gonna buy that. We can't let Russia and the communists buy all this acid. We gotta buy it. So the Americans bought all the fucking acid, and they was like, shit, we have a surplus of acid now. What are we gonna do with it? And they started just like giving it out all willy-nilly to like professors and shit to do experiments with. And then, yeah, they all just started like doing it and turning into stupid ass hippies. Dirty ass hippies.
However, a slight mistake had been made. The mistake is made public for the first time.
I just found out on a new CIA document that there were no such large quantities of LSD on the market.
John Marks has filed numerous Freedom of Information suits against the CIA and has unearthed much new material. He is the author of The Search for the Manchurian Candidate, a history of intelligence agency work with mind control. He is a consultant for this report.
What happened is that there was a military attaché in Switzerland, an American officer, who got milligrams and kilograms.
I guess so, Dick. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, if we're talking about like anything, not just like LSD. We're talking about anything, absolutely, yeah.
Mixed up. In other words, he made a mistake of thinking 1/1000th of a gram was the same as 1,000 grams, which is a mistake of 1,000,000 times. So when the CIA got the intelligence that there
Oops, I accidentally messed up my 1/1000th of a gram and 1,000 grams. Sorry, that dose might be a little strong.
were 100 million doses on the market, in fact, there were 100 doses.
The man who would oversee the CIA's research into drugs and most of the agency's behavior programs is this man, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, a chemist. Dr. Gottlieb declined ABC News' request for an interview. In their never-ending search for the miracle weapon, CIA operatives searched here in the remote mountain area.
Oh, hell yeah, Ledgeview. You're talking about the dude who used to, like, make it in a bus and shit? Like that acid wizard or whatever?
Areas of southern...
Because the Acid King was that kid who, like, made his friend say, "Hell, Satan," and then he stabbed him. And then the lawyer got the dude who was there who helped him off scot-free. I'm impressed as shit by that. They used, like, acid as a defense, like, well, did you know that there was a lion escaped from the circus? And they were like, what? And so he successfully argued that the kid was tripping so much that he didn't know whether he held the guy down and helped his friend stab him or not. And he fucking got out. He got him off.
Mexico, for what up to then had been considered a myth, magic mushrooms. They used this man, a part-time chemist with the CIA, to dupe this man, a vice president of a bank and an amateur mycologist or mushroom expert, to try to get to the magic mushrooms and turn them into a drug. But it would be the amateur, R. Gordon Wasson and his colleagues, who would win the race and develop the drug psilocybin from the magic mushrooms.
We went into the Mazatec area, far from the highways.
It's some, like, altered state shit right there. Like, you know, like when they were going in altered states to, like, study that shit. He's kind of like the guy from it.
Mexico City. There we found that rotten bagasse, as it's called, bagasso, covered.
What's up, Birdie?
With mushrooms. These mushrooms I didn't know, had never seen. They were the sacred mushrooms.
Wasson would also discover and record the ancient mystical rites of the mushrooms from a local shaman or magical priestess, Maria Sabina.
And we were seeing incredible sights. They would go slowly or they would go fast as I ordained. All your senses are rendered acute. We say that you see visions, you see hallucinations, but that doesn't begin to tell the story. The hallucinations are only part of it. You hear sounds, you smell things. The night was thrilling.
The night was thrilling, hell yeah. That scientist knows what's up. He's like, wow, you smell things, you hear things. That night was thrilling.
Word of Wasson's discovery reached the CIA quickly. Dr. James Moore, a University of Delaware chemist, secretly served the CIA preparing deadly chemicals on short notice. Moore was instructed to get close to Wasson and accompany him on another trip to Mexico to get the magic mushrooms. Internal documents show the CIA...
I mean, all you gotta do is get a spore print, and then, you gotta get your jars, and you gotta get your substrate. You gotta put that substrate jars in the big, pressure cooker and, cook them. Then you gotta, inoculate your substrates. Then you gotta let the mycelium colonize the substrates. And then you bust it open in a big tank, and you let the substrates fruit. That's all you gotta do.
They felt a drug derived from the mushrooms could remain an agency secret. What in the world were they looking for with the magic mushrooms?
I think the best answer to that is that they were looking for fundamental information on compounds that would be capable of causing...
I know, yeah, that's what it is, Ledgeview. They just were trying to trip out. They tried to fucking trip out. That's all they cared about.
Changes in
frost meth.
Behavior, changes in mental attitude.
Did you ever consider what would have happened if any of these substances were given to, say, unwitting people?
Oh, I don't remember having considered that specifically.
What if you... I trust perhaps you've thought about it.
Well, I haven't worried about it. Your question again, what would I have thought had I known that any
of these substances
would have been given to
unwitting persons?
You mean a hospital?
Hell yeah, Donnie Darko. Yeah, some mimosa. You gotta get that Red Devil eye with that mimosa, though.
Still agent of another government?
No, I mean
that was probably one of the things they had in mind.
I mean testing it out on an American citizen.
I guess I must seem very, very cold-blooded about this, but I don't recall ever having been very much preoccupied with that issue.
God damn. That guy doesn't give a fuck. He's like, oh shit, man. I might seem cold-blooded, but I didn't give a fuck if they tested it on unwitting citizens or not. God damn, he does. He looks like he's wearing Groucho glasses almost, with the eyebrows, but the nose is falling off. Oh, hell yeah, Brady Gravy.
But many drugs were tested in this way. A decision was made at the highest levels of the CIA to do testing on unwitting Americans. As one CIA document...
Simulated LSD experience. There you go. There's where it says simulated LSD experience. Oh my God.
It says such testing would be operationally realistic. A former CIA official who worked on these programs describes for the first time how the decision was made. He did not wish to be filmed or recorded. Thus his remarks are read by someone else.
I think every last one of us felt sorry to attempt this kind of thing. We knew we were crossing the line. Every decent kid knows he shouldn't steal, but he does it sometimes.
Oh yeah, he did kind of look like Spangler a little bit too, goddamn.
We knew damn well we didn't want anyone else to know what we were doing.
Oh yeah, Mr. Sacco, yeah. Yeah, I know nowadays nowadays they got those kits and shit, but like back in my day, you had to, you know, be real like careful, wear masks and shit and big old gloves, or you had to like make a box. You get one of those big Tupperware boxes, or like the bins that are clear, and cut holes in it and put like kitchen gloves in it, so it looked like one of those science boxes. It's so fucking stupid. Like you're working with like uranium or some shit. God damn.
The decision was made to do testing on unwitting victims. It was decided they should be on the fringes of society because they were most vulnerable.
It was the borderline underworld. Prostitutes, drug addicts, and other small-timers.
Exactly, K-West, yeah.
Would be powerless to seek any kind of revenge in case they found out.
And as their predecessors had a decade earlier, the CIA turned to George White for help. White was now a high-ranking narcotics official, and by this time the stories about George White were legendary.
So the waiter says, "You may help you, monsieur?" And George White was busy talking with me. Paid no attention to the waiter, so the waiter tapped him on the shoulder, says, "May I help you, monsieur?" George White turned around, whipped his gun out, and stuck it in the guy's face like this in this crowded restaurant.
George White did not mind bending the law, and he knew the street well. He was the ideal choice for what the CIA had in mind.
Oh, hell yeah, TT.
We were Ivy League, white, middle class. We were naive, totally naive about this, and he felt pretty expert. He knew the whores, the pimps, the people who brought in the drugs.
White set up so-called safe houses for the CIA in New York, here in Greenwich Village, and later in San Francisco, in this hotel, and in an apartment atop Telegraph Hill with a commanding view of San Francisco Bay. While the existence of these safe houses was disclosed last year.
All right, so that's like Midnight Climax, right? That's where they like made the prostitutes slip like drugs to the Johns and stuff, and they watched them between two-way mirrors. And then they probably were like, we could get like Kennedy to do this, and then we could blackmail Kennedy. That's what it was for.
Here, details of what took place within them has not been told.
Oh, absolutely, Birdie. I think they're gonna talk about that here in a minute, probably. But yeah, they like secretly dosed an agent, and he like went crazy, and he jumped out a window. And that's literally the origin of the like, if you do drugs, you'll jump off the roof thinking you're Superman, or like you take acid and you jump out the window. Wait, no, never mind. That was actually in fucking Reefer Madness. That's weird. Never mind. That's from Reefer Madness. The girl goes crazy and jumps out of a window. That's from the 30s. But then I guess life imitated art or some shit.
A former CIA official who worked in the safe houses reveals that they were used not only for drug testing, but to study sexual behavior and how it could be used.
That's exactly what it is, Bong Farter. It's always just comes down to blackmail and money.
Used to manipulate people.
We did quite a study of prostitutes and their behavior. How do you take a woman who is willing to use her body to get money out of a guy to get him to talk about things which are much more important, like state secrets? We learned a lot about human nature in the bedroom. We started to pick up knowledge that could be used in operations.
There would be victims in all of this.
Oh yeah, Ambien. You also might say some like racist things on your Twitter if you're Roseanne Barr.
But as the agency knew, they couldn't fight back. Some entries from George White's diaries. Clarice gets horrors. Janet, sky high. As one agency memo says, we have no answer to the moral question. The safe houses were not the only testing grounds. Millions of dollars would be spent on LSD research at universities throughout the country. And word would begin to spread on campus about this so-called mind-blowing drug. And suddenly, there was the counterculture of the 60s.
I give the CIA a total credit for sponsoring and initiating the entire consciousness movement, counterculture events of the 1960s.
Dr. Timothy Leary, the 1960s Johnny Appleseed of LSD.
The CIA funded and supported and encouraged hundreds of young psychiatrists to experiment with this drug. The The fallout from that was that the young psychologists began taking it themselves, discovering...
Right, Ledgeview? It's fucking crazy. Oh, yeah, TT, he had been hit in the back of the head before falling out the window. They probably fucking threw him out.
That it was an intelligence-enhancing, consciousness-raising experience.
I know.
Yeah, it was weird. It was forced counterculture. What's up, Cope? No, it's not the dolphin guy. Oh, I know who you're talking about. They were trying to get dolphins to talk by giving it acid, and then the woman started doing it with the fucking dolphin, and then, like, Playboy did an interview with the woman doing it with the dolphin. Fucking wild-ass times back then.
Know that some of the studies in which the CIA had supported you...
LSD expert? How does one get that title?
Enhancing, consciousness-raising experience.
I know that some of the studies in which...
There you go. LSD expert. Damn, Dr. Sidney Cohen. Fucking expert on it.
The CIA had supported, used as subjects people who later became strong proselytizers of LSD. So, in that sense, yes, I think it did sustain the perpetuation of the use of the drug.
Absolutely, SH, yeah. They used people in jail and mental patients, and then they kicked them out on the streets. And then what happened to it? I don't know. Maybe they, like, bred up the new batch of locals we have now.
And it's rather ironic, isn't it?
The counter case that I would make in relationship to that is to remember that the people who were doing the research were people who would be doing the research.
God damn! That answer right there. He's like, well, the people who were doing the research were people who were doing the research. Meaning, like, yeah, they leaked the shit on purpose. They made hippies on purpose just to fucking do research on them.
Regardless of who was the sponsor. I don't think anybody working in that time in the remotest ever thought that it
What's up, Jello?
would blow up into the kind of thing that it did.
Probably, bong farter. Probably.
History will judge the role of the CIA and other intelligence agencies in unwittingly contributing to the counterculture of the 60s through their intense interest in LSD and other hallucinogenics. But for the moment at least, the argument can be made that the CIA helped usher in the age of Aquarius.
Goddamn bunch of naked ass hippies, like, bathing in the, like, sewage pond. Hell yeah, Mikey.
Covering a span of history such as we are in this report, one can get sidetracked by the so-called glamour and mystery of espionage work or by the exotic qualities of some drugs. But what you can't lose sight of is what all of this would mean in terms of individual human beings. There would be deaths, there would be long-lasting and harmful effects.
What's up, Biff the Werewolf? Hell yeah, K West. Yeah, hippies were created, absolutely. Oh, I know, Mark, yeah, absolutely. And pretty much any big, like, weird event that happened from, like, the 60s until, like, the late 70s, early 80s, there's, like, weird ties to it. It all ties back. You know, Kaczynski. Shit, that was even into the 90s with Kaczynski, Manson. Like, there's so many, weird Jonestown. Fucking goddamn, even, like, Heaven's Gate and shit.
Best known case is that of this man, Frank Olson, a chemist employed by the Army Chemical Corps, who in 1953 was slipped LSD unknowingly at a meeting with CIA officials. Shortly after that, Olson went into severe depression. He ended his life at this New York hotel by diving through a shaded closed window in his 10th floor room. Frank Olson was the first known fatality in the CIA's LSD program. Olson left behind a widow, Alice, and 3 children, but it would be years before they learned the real story of his death. Shortly after his suicide, Alice Olson was visited by Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, the man who had administered the drug, and by Robert Lashbrook, his deputy, who was the last...
Hell yeah, low battery. Yeah, And like it was like one of the ones where they did stuff like criticize him, break him down like mentally, like have the person be completely like argumentative and against every idea that he has.
Person with Frank Olson the night of his death.
It was probably to check me out and see whether I was handling myself and handling the situation, whether I was hysterical. And I'm sure they left the house feeling ever so much...
Pretty much Biff, yeah. He couldn't get any more. He was like, damn it, I need more! And he jumped out the window.
Better because I had been gracious and hospitable to them, so that I must have played right into their hand and made them feel fine.
23 years later, how did you feel about that meeting?
My anger was unbelievable at how I had been duped for this length of time, and the anguish which was unnecessary.
Anyone who knew during all of those years never told Alice Olson the real story of her husband's death. She would discover it by accident more than 2 decades later. In essence, it was a 22-year-long cover-up. Lyman Kirkpatrick was Inspector General.
And I like how, like, this is just so, like, nonchalantly, casually talked about. 22-year cover-up. Blah, blah, blah. They dosed their own, like, operatives and, like, killed them and shit. And this is, like, widely known. It's not a conspiracy. This is just, like, facts here. All this stuff happened. But yet still people, like, have a hard time believing other shit, you know? Like, I don't know, that's conspiracy, blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, they don't have a really good track record at not doing crazy-ass motherfucking shit.
Of the CIA at the time of Frank Olson's death. But had not the Olson case occurred within the secret confines of the CIA, would not this case have been a prosecutable case? Perhaps manslaughter?
I would think definitely prosecutable, and certainly from the point of view of the...
The audio and the video got out of sync, but I guess that's to be expected. This is a super, like, 30-generation, like, rips of like a VHS rip of like something, you know, of like an original master tape.
Of Mr. Olson, why, it should probably have been actionable.
Frank Olson's suicide slowed down the CIA's testing of LSD and other drugs, but only momentarily. The CIA was not the only government agency interested in the possibilities LSD and other drugs presented for mind control. The Army Chemical Corps first started working with the CIA and then branched off on its own. It too tested drugs on unwitting victims, and a death would result. The case of this man, Harold Blower, a tennis pro, seen here with his daughter Elizabeth, is well known. In 1953, Blower was a private patient at the New York State Psychiatric Institute. He was given 5 injections of a mescaline derivative that was being tested secretly for the Army Chemical Corps. With the 5th injection, Harold Blower died. As with the Olson case...
Holy shit, a weird-ass mescaline derivative? And they just kept injecting him? And on the 5th time he died? Holy fucking shit. God, I wonder what it was. Turned into, like, some of that bromo shit or something nowadays that they, like, make.
Case, a 22-year cover-up followed, until finally the Army admitted the real details of Blower's death. Since the initial news stories of Harold Blower's death, close to 5,000 documents, previously classified, have been released by the Army and obtained by ABC News. They provide valuable insight into Army...
What's up, Outbad Brutal? Hell yeah, Jello Putin. God damn, it'd be scary to be that guy, like, we're going to do experimental drugs on you, and you could possibly die. They're not going to tell him that you could die. They would just, like, be like, okay, here's 1 injection, you're like fucking tripping your ass off and shit, and they just keep on injecting you? God.
Activities at the time of Blower's death, and where the Army went from there with their own drug testing program. From a previously classified deposition of Dr. James Cattell, who administered the mescaline derivative, on the purpose of the drug testing, to produce symptoms similar to those that you see in schizophrenia. On how much the patient knew about all this. We didn't delineate all the possibilities of what might happen, because then you...
Shit, they can, like, call schizophrenia now without even having to give you a bunch of mescaline derivatives. All they gotta do is, like, give you a fucking cell phone and with internet access, and if you have a weak mind, you'll just go schizophrenic. We see it happen all the time now.
You contaminate your experiment. Cattell then relates that he never even knew what drug he had given Harold Blauer because of the secrecy of the Army experiments.
Absolutely, Mr. Sacco.
Didn't know whether it was dog piss. This was secret. This was a secret. We weren't in on it. We asked Blauer's daughter, Elizabeth.
Oh, okay, there we go, Lewis. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah, the dude with trying to get dolphins to talk, and the lady did it with a dolphin and shit. Fucking weird.
For her reaction.
What? How can anybody react to that? I mean, that is so far from what you'd expect from a human being, never mind a doctor.
There's a connection to Echo the Wait, what? Oh my god, there's a connection to Echo the Dolphin with that? I didn't know about that one. But holy shit, yes. I definitely will. Oh my god. Oh, absolutely, Biff. Like, all of them. Pervitin. They had Pervitin tablets with them. And also everybody who wasn't in the army, too. Because Pervitin came around, like, right before they started going full, like, let's get Austria and all that shit. And they were just using it to, like, rebuild after World War I, kinda.
Never mind a professional specialist who's supposed to care about people's minds. It's unbelievable.
A suit filed by a...
Wait, what? One of the guys who founded NASA turned out to pull a Christian with his mom and their dog? Oh my fucking god. Of course! Of course! God damn. We're talking about, like, modern NASA, too, right? We're not talking about, like, JPL.
Elizabeth Barrett against the Army Chemical Corps is now pending in federal court. Other Army experiments continued on mental patients around the country. Work done at the Tulane Medical Center in New Orleans involved several drugs, hallucinogenics, and electrodes implanted.
What's up, Gothic Violent Vixen? Oh, hell yeah.
In the brain. The chief researcher was Dr. Russell Monroe, now head of the psychiatry department at the University of Maryland. These are various progress.
Absolutely, Light Grove. I mean, JPL was Jack Parsons' laboratory, not Jet Proportion Laboratory. And Jack Parsons fucking crazy.
Reports written by Dr. Monroe.
He got blown up. And that too could be conspiracy. Someone could have, like, fucked with his chemicals to make him blow up because he knew so many, like, you know, rocket secrets and whatnot. And he was on a bunch of drugs and being crazy wizard. So, or he could have been just really, really high on his drugs, fucking with chemicals, and blew himself up. Either way is very believable.
And recently obtained by ABC News. From one of the progress reports.
Okay, let's see. Claims extraterrestrial beings could influence his life through a process called coincidence control, based in the Earth Coincidence Control Office, Echo. Holy fucking shit! And there's aliens in Echo the Dolphin. And you go through time and shit, and you go find, like, a weird DNA that's, like, got orbs on it and shit. Holy hell. Oh my god. 3 beings described as belonging to an extraterrestrial communications network that Lily tapped into while listed inside the isolation tank. Holy fucking shit. God, this is crazy. I'm definitely gonna look up into that stuff. I had no clue that there were, like, connections to Echo the Dolphin in it.
A report of a woman who had electrodes implanted in the brain and was then given LSD and other drugs. She became agitated, cried, lapsed into a trance-like state.
Goddamn, you implanted electrodes in her brain. I'd fucking cry too. If I took acid, I would be like, oh my god, these people have electrodes in my brain. I'd fucking cry too. God damn. It's only natural to cry when people fucking implant electrodes in your motherfucking brain.
Felt as if she were about to have a convulsion. Experienced waves of darkness and light. Had bizarre sensations in her neck and legs. Said somebody was trying to manipulate her body.
Hell yeah, Ledgebeard.
At this point, Dr. Monroe wrote that the woman was obviously having paranoid ideas. As a layperson, perhaps you can enlighten me. What therapeutic effect?
Ew! That's just a disgusting title. Wet Goddess, written by an unrelated dolphin diddler, and they held Lily in such high regards. That's so weird. Fucking weird.
Would the type of experiment that I just described have on a patient?
Hell yeah,
Well,
Ledgeview.
The therapeutic effect would be indirect.
Was this patient aware that she was being given LSD?
Yes, I mean,
Oh, goddamn, Loco. I've seen lots of those. Yeah, poking around in people's skulls. I've also seen the videos, those old videos of the monkeys that have the clear top parts attached, and you can see their brains underneath it, and they have all these electrodes, and they're, like, tuning TVs. They're trying to figure out the right, like, wave for the TV to make the monkeys become passive.
we're told that they would be given some medication, and they should have
Specifically LSD?
Well, we told them, I don't think that they would have even known what LSD was then at the time. They were told that they were going to they would be given some medication which might make them feel worse.
Given some medication that might make them feel worse. Holy shit. Oh, it's a banned book, tactical? Hell yeah. I mean, some books, like, are banned for, like, decent reasons, you know? Like, I mean, I don't suggest anybody should ban shit, because once you start banning shit, then you can ban shit, other shit, you know what I'm saying? But, like, no one needs to read goddamn Lolita. This fucking stuff's gross.
Dr. Monroe, what do you think the Army Chemical Corps was looking for in all of this testing?
They were looking for an incapacitating agent, an agent that would not harm the person permanently, but would incapacitate them temporarily. That seemed like a humanistic way to wage a war, if war is necessary.
When James Thorne...
Hell yeah, Akron Asylum. Thanks for hanging out. And, hey, if you're the asylum, you got tons of, like, test subjects we could use, especially in Akron.
Thornwell was given LSD by Army intelligence.
Yeah, some books are banned because they're written by a dolphin diddler. Pretty much, yeah.
Intelligence in 1961. This time, it was no experiment. This time, the express purpose was to peel back Thornwell's brain to bear any secret within it. This time, the Army had gone operational. Thornwell, as reported on ABC last January, was an Army private stationed in Orléans, France. Classified documents were missing from his unit. Thornwell became a suspect. His 2.5-month interrogation included administration of sodium pentothal, hypnosis, isolation, and deprivation of sleep. Army documents obtained by...
Wow, it's essentially like Inquisition shit. It's like the same thing, they just like changed it a little bit, you know? We're not putting them on the rack anymore. Now we're just like putting their brain through the rack.
BBC News referred to this interrogation as conventional. Despite this severe questioning, Army intelligence was getting nowhere with Thornwell, and it was decided to slip him LSD. For 16 years...
Hell yeah, Rabbit, we all are. We all are when it comes down to it. If we've watched anything on television ever at any point, it's some sort of MK Ultra shit.
Thornwell never knew what had hit him. Tell me about the acid.
I'd rather not. It's a bad trip.
That was a bad trip.
That was a bad trip. The pain was so excruciating, felt like somebody was sticking me with $1 million.
Oh my god, yes, trained to be an Arctic Commando Walrus super soldier. They give you all that, like, those special pills that turn you into a big walrus man like they were doing to Bill Dotrieve. What's up, Shaggy boy?
Pins, you know, just everywhere. Oh, it just...
See what I'm saying about this guy? He's like overacting now. He's really trying to sell it. It's like Rax when he cries and like peeks through the fingers to see if you're like watching and seeing him cry.
You want to stop for me?
Hell yeah, Gothic thing.